Question. How do we call him? He gave us a signal.
What's up, Gotham Guardians in Arkham Adversaries? It is your boy Trey of the Bat Channel. We are live once again for like the 5th or 6th time this week. It's been a little nuts. But as always, I have to bring in the best co-host, Hunter, the Predator himself. He's a sexual tyrannosaurus, Mr. Super Bro Corey.
All of those things are true. What is up, everybody? How are we doing today?
Doing good, man. Last night was fire.
Woo!
It was so much fun.
Woo! Oh boy, was last night fun, man.
Right. Out of curiosity, did you get to watch the Comanche dub?
I watched a lot of it last night.
Oh, before you had to pass out, you're just too tired?
No, because I was watching it and I was like, hot damn, this is a masterpiece. This is the way it should be watched. And I was like, maybe I should stop before I get to all the good scenes and do a watch party with everybody.
Oh, okay. So you were saying that the Comanche dub is even better than the...
So much better. So much better.
Really?
The French people speak French instead of English.
Is there any English throughout the film?
No.
That's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised you're saying this because, guys, if you've seen our show before, Corey, when I was little, and he got a new TV. Oh, look at that. He got the Predator bottle going. Getting that Mountain Dew in. Corey used to give me shit for watching like all the old Japanese Godzilla films and stuff like that. But it's cool that you actually watched it and thought like, hey, yeah, man, that's where it's at. So yeah, we should do a...
Oh, it's because I hated the dub, bro.
Okay. Well, oh, how it didn't sync up, really? Okay. Well, that's fair. That's understandable. So we'll definitely do a watch party of that, I think, this upcoming week. Just to see what it's like. But before we go any further, I think it's important to bring in our special guest that showed up last night as a nice surprise, but he's here again with us, Mr. Jeffrey Warfield, the Watchtower himself. What's up, Jeffrey?
Dun, 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 dun!
What's up, buddy?
Nothing. How are you?
Doing good, man. Now that you've had a chance to sleep on watching the Prey movie with us, initial thoughts. He's still feeling is in that honeymoon phase, or you just like, yeah,
it's still a great movie the first time, and I can't wait to watch it the third time with the dub.
Yeah,
man. It's gonna be. That's going to be good. I'm actually really excited for it. I watched it again this morning with Wonder Wife Sarah. And
you watched it last night?
No, we end up not because in our room she has like all the fans going on. And I was like, the sound design of this film is so good that I was like, we're going to want to watch it on our big speakers. So I was like, nah.
Did you let you turn it up?
What's that?
Did she let you turn up the sound though?
Yeah, I was able to turn up the sound. I will say, we'll talk about that in our review a little bit later. But Oracle Clock Tower, Corey. She's asking you, is it better than Top Gun?
We'll answer that. Maybe.
We'll answer that. Maybe. Corey's like, oh man. Everyone's excited to see the Watchtower here. But guys, as always, we like to say thank you so much for being here with us. It helps us out so much when you smash that like, you share this video, you subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already, because I can't tell you how important it is to hit that notification bell. There's so many wonderful content creators that I enjoy watching that I was missing all their shows. And it was like, why am I missing them? Well, it's because Silly Trey did not hit that notification bell. Now that I hit that notification bell, I ain't missing their shows. I'm enjoying their content when they come out. So I recommend you guys do the same if you're enjoying our content. But as always, if you feel like supporting us a little more, Corey, I know I'm going a little backwards on this. Apologize. You can help us out with super chats. Super chats go a very, very long way to helping us out. The money pretty much just goes right back into the show with improving our equipment. And I did create some Predator themed ones for this show. You know, because I figured this was going to be a continuous thing for the Bat Channel. So super chats, thank you guys so much for that. We like to say our thank you when you thank us and enjoy our content. Let us know that this is some good stuff, and that means a lot to us. But now, Corey, I'll go to the social media pages portion. He's like, man, you are jumping all around. I'm just feeling good, Corey. I'm in a certain bliss with the new Prey movie. But follow us on our other social media pages. You can do Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at @the_Bat Channel. Or if you're on Facebook, you can do @Holy Bat Channel. Someone beat me to the punch, but hey, Holy Bat Channel works too. But thank you guys so much for being here. Corey, who all do we have in the chat today?
Man, we have a lot of people in his house. Let me go over here. There we go. All right, let's see. We got the Boy Wonder.
What up, Boy Wonder? Man, I gotta say, Boy Wonder, your comments have really just been super nice, and I just really appreciate that, man. It really means a lot. When anyone just throws that title on you, I never take it for granted, but you've constantly been just saying hey, best channel ever. It's nice to hear when we put a lot of work into it, because sometimes you feel like it doesn't go noticed, and but it's certain comments like that really mean the world to us. So thank you so much, Boy Wonder.
We got Retro Nerd Girl.
Just one of the content creators I was telling you guys about that I didn't hit the notification bell, kept missing her shows. No longer. I'm watching all of them. She's having great shows.
Trevor H.
My man.
My boy Trevor H. Ryan Swayze.
What's up, Ryan Swayze?
Beyond the Night is in his house. Bat Fanatic. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse guy. Red Hooded Outlaw. Oracle's Clock Tower. The Butler is back. The Batman Who Laughs. Eric Patterson. And I think I saw a few more. Skywalker the Jedi. Spoilers.
Skywalker. This is a two-parter. So for anyone who hasn't seen the Prey movie, the beginning we're gonna do a general non-spoiler review, just for a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll do our typical warning, hey, this is gonna be the spoiler review. If you haven't watched it yet and you don't want any spoilers, get out now while you can. So we're doing both, and I'll probably cut them, to be different videos, but. Yeah.
Thanks, Red Hooded Outlaw.
Thanks, man. That really does mean a lot. Appreciate it. But guys, if you haven't watched Sky's channel, you should do that. It's Sky is his YouTube channel with the cool table. It's fire. It's good stuff. You're not going to be disappointed. Let's see, Corey. So first off, it's been a crazy week, right? We've done all these watch parties. We did the first Predator film. We did the second Predator film. And then obviously we did Prey last night. And that was a extremely fun time. And it was very different for me because I had never watched Prey yet. Like normally I like to watch the movie before so I can like really zone in and like just be in the moment, but I just didn't have the time. So you guys got my real reactions to seeing the film, and that was very different. So I don't know. It was very fun to kind of do it that way. I mean, we might do that again. I don't know. It was just cool to experience it with you
with
guys.
everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I actually like that a lot. I was like, man, you know, we weren't able to turn off our lights like Jeffrey Warfield said, but it was a fun way to experience it with everybody.
Yeah. I agree. And honestly, I can't wait to kind of like watch it like truly in the dark and stuff like that. It was just great. Your bottle just keeps like catching my eye every time, and it in a weird way I get a little tense every time I see it. Like I just expect a predator to be like drinking it and be like you know?
I know I'm always going to use this bottle now,
and it's like Mountain Dew, so it's like drinking its own blood.
Well, it's lemonade.
Well, maybe
now,
that's
right?
what you're doing, Corey. You've killed plenty of predators. You're just drinking away.
It's lemonade now, so it's like, oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. Hey, Skywalker, have you seen the show? Have you seen Prey? If you have, man, I'll drop you a link. Just let me know, big fella. I'll be there. Salute to you, sir. It's always good to see Skywalker and Retro Nerd Go. Guys, seriously, if you have not subscribed to their channels, please do. They are amazing people. I feel like we should just get into it now because
I feel like we should get into it too.
Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Is once again our non-spoilers review. This is just us kind of giving our general thoughts, our feelings towards the characters, the story, the overall cinematography, the tone, and if we liked it, if we would recommend seeing it or not, or if it wasn't worth it, like, hey, once was done, once was good or something like that. But let's start with Jeffrey, my man, the Watchtower. You've now seen it. Did you say 3 times, or you're going on your third time soon?
After this review, it's gonna be my 3rd time. So,
wow,
yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
So pretty much this whole week is gonna be Prey week for me. For this whole weekend is gonna be a Prey weekend for me.
Yeah, right. Now that you've seen it twice, was there anything, without giving anything away, did you find things more the second time you viewed it that you're like, oh man, I missed that, but I love that? Or was it like, oh, this second time I actually got out of that nostalgic phase and was like, oh, there were some issues that I didn't notice before?
There were some details that I didn't notice the first time around that I noticed this time around. Like there were like these little details that I didn't notice where it's like I really didn't pay attention to like some of the action scenes. There was like these little nuances that is really amazing with the cinematography and the effects, like even to the minute detail. Like, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but yeah, there's some stuff that I didn't realize yet until you pointed it out. Until some of you pointed it out at the launch party. So yeah, but yeah, I will say that once, like as I was saying throughout the entire watch party, like you guys really do need to see it in the dark because the cinematography, man, like it is like in the dark, it's like peak at the dark, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree with that. When we watched it this morning, my wife and I, to me, it was very clear. Like my wife tried to like put up our blackout curtains and stuff like that, but the sunlight still kind of seeps through. And I was like, it definitely puts you in a different place when you're watching like a scary movie or a horror film in the dark, or even just kind of getting that theatrical experience, when you're in the dark, and it does give you a whole different tone and feeling to it. Corey, how about you? You've now watched it kind of twice. You started watching a piece of it with the Comanche dub. You were saying the Comanche dub is totally better. But watching the first time, what's your general thoughts? Like, was it, story wise, did it satisfy the cravings as a fan of the franchise? Did you get everything you need out of it? And would you recommend seeing it again? Give us some pros, maybe some cons if you had them.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend seeing it again. So, it was a very well done movie. It was, without getting into too much of the spoilers, this movie can stand on itself as a prequel. Does it help if you've watched some of the other Predator movies? Sure. There might be some special themes, who knows? But it's definitely worth watching. I enjoyed it all the way through, and it's having the Native American vibes to it as well was extremely satisfying as well. So, El Necron's in the house.
El Necron, my man, I know you're at work right now, brother, but it's always good to see you guys. If you're not subscribed to El Necron's channel, please do. Just a super cool guy. I wish we could have had him on for some of these shows. Maybe he can join us for the Comanche dub watch party at some point. But El Necron, it's so good to see you, man. And yeah, bro, it's a great film. I thought cinematography wise, brilliant. The director, Dan Trachtenberg, did an absolutely phenomenal job and really gave it, simply because of the setting, the location of Alberta, Canada. I feel like with most Predator films, you're kind of just stuck in this one area. You're stuck in the same setting with the jungle, with the city. This film, because of how it was filmed in a way, you really kind of get the scope of this land, and it kind of feels big in a sense, but yet they're kind of keeping it in the one area. And I think that goes to, credit to the director, like really just the screenplay, just nailing it in a way to kind of make it feel big, feel epic and cinematic, even though it was a streaming film. And the action, phenomenal. I mean, if you're a fan of the Predator franchise, you're going to find a lot of things in this film that you're like, oh my God, so cool. Like, oh, that's totally paying respect to this. But in a way, because it's a prequel, like Corey said, they were able to stand on their own and make it kind of its own thing. Like, it was definitely its own, like, its own great film that didn't need the previous films to be a good film. Like, if you didn't watch the first Predator film, if you haven't seen any Predator film, and you can start here. Yeah, you could start here, and I think you would be a fan of the franchise. I think you would say, well, there's more films. Let me start with the 1987 Predator film. Let's start with a Predator 2 film. I think this film could take a new generations of fans, which is wonderful because, I mean, guys, we've kind of talked about this with the Predator franchise. It's been kind of going downhill with the last couple of films, ever since really AVP and stuff like that hasn't been doing so hot. Do you feel like this oh my God, Sky, do you feel like this will reignite the fandom and the franchise?
Absolutely. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but yes, absolutely, this will reignite the franchise. And I'm excited for the future of Predator, and what's to come.
Very, very cool. So my final question will be, and this will kind of wrap up our non-spoiler review, because I think you guys the audience can get a feel that this film hit on many different levels: action, cinematography, sound design, the music composition was absolutely phenomenal. The Predator itself was exactly what you would expect to get out of a Predator film. And the character development, the character stories were great, and the tone and the tensity, and I just feel like they just did their research. They really focused on just creating a great story, and they nailed it. Here's the question I have for us now.
Okay.
Obviously, this film was streaming only. It was Hulu and Disney Plus, and apparently Stars. Was this a mistake on 20th Century Studios and Disney's to not do it in the theaters, or do you think maybe because the Predator films haven't done well in the box office really since the first film, is streaming the way to go for the Predator franchise? Let's start with Jeffrey.
Really, for me, I think it was a big mistake to go for streaming, but from Disney and Fox's perspective, I can really understand why they went for the streaming route because of the downward spiral of the Predator franchise. But I think as time goes on, Twitter will do its thing with the people asking for it to be seen in theaters, and I think that will, and then I think eventually down the line, my hope is that Disney and Fox do release this movie in theaters, because this really was meant for the big screen.
Okay, yeah. So you think it should have had a theatrical release?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Super Bro Corey?
Absolutely, bro. This movie belongs in the theaters, man. It was beautiful. The cinematography is fantastic. They messed up. This should have been in the theaters, bro.
So Corey's just like 100%. Yep, they were wrong. They should have done it in the theaters. Me personally,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You were saying.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. That's
Here's the way I feel about it. Like, while streaming is very convenient, even for how good my sound system is out on that TV, I found myself enjoying it more when I had like these really nice surround sound headphones on, because you could hear it, like you could be in this film, like literally in it, and hear all the sounds behind you, the Predator going, over there, deer, an elk bugling. It was just like so intense of sound design that it was almost like, man, people who don't even have the type of speaker system that I have are missing out. They're not getting the full experience and the full effort of what the director and really the whole production crew have done with this film. And
if you're not hearing that clicking noise behind you as you're watching this movie,
right?
Yeah,
like it's like almost.
Jeffrey already told us we need to see this movie in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Yeah, you know what it is, guys? It's almost like the human natural instinct. Like, I think because seeing this film, like, the Predator films, when I was honestly probably too young to see the films, I feel like, as I said before, like the Predator films used to scare the living shit out of me, because we lived with our cousins at the time in Illinois, and we slept downstairs in the basement where they had this refrigerator that would make that when it ran. And from the moment I saw the Predator film, I could no longer sleep in that basement. Like, there was many restless nights because I'd be hiding under my blanket, eyes just barely covering to see if the Predator was coming to get me. And I think it's like that natural instinct that, like, if you see a bear, your human animal instinct is going to go, that's a dangerous thing that's going to eat me. You're going to feel the chills run up your spine a bit and be a little heightened and alerted. I feel like that's what the sound design did with this Predator film, is every time you heard the behind you, you literally straightened your back, and you probably saw me do it a few times, and you probably heard, if you were listening through your headset, you probably heard me going,
yeah.
Like, I was like starting to get tense and like freaking out, like, oh shit, here we go. Like, the thing's gonna get me, It was just so crazy. Oh no, dude, my man Noel's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Dreamwalker issue 2 with Mikey's son is going to be absolutely fire. You have not pre-ordered it, you're wasting time. No, I don't know if you had the link just on hand for the Dreamwalker comic, but go ahead if you do and put it right in the chat so people can pick it up. It's just a really great comic series, guys, and I can't wait for issue 2 to come out and eventually issue 3. There's just some crazy stuff going on with these local comic book artists, and so definitely support those comic artists and the comic writers that maybe aren't the streamlined like Marvel and DC. This is going to be great. Second Skin's comic is doing amazing stuff with it. But Noel says here, pray It has a thin plot innovated by integrating Native American culture. They are forgivable in inconsistencies. The action is superb. A worthy popcorn movie for the theaters. You said it, man. You said it.
Yep.
Yeah, just absolutely great. So I think, all in all, I would say, yeah, it should have been in the theaters. And I think someone actually said it in the chat. Maybe just like a limited theatrical release, maybe
Exactly.
Yep.
2 or 3 weekends.
Can I get? But I would love to see it, highlighted. Like I don't think it needs to be every movie theater. I think we need it like I don't want to say IMAX. I want to say Adobe, like Dolby.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's like a
be
3
cool.
Dolby's
Yeah.
a few times. That's what I'm looking for.
And you know what? I feel like instantly, because the budget was probably a tad bit down than you would see from a theatrical release of a film. But if you did do a limited theatrical release, kind of like what Netflix was able to do during the pandemic with movies like Army of the Dead, I think immediately you would probably make a jump up in in getting your money back. Because streaming, that you probably won't really see, like, if you are getting your production back, other than subscribers, watch hours, things like that. But with films, it's a little more lucrative, right? Like, you can see clearly this is the money you're getting back for this film. And I think there would have been a nice couple of weekends in there that they could have got from just being in the box office and getting Predator fans who wanted to see it, and the word of mouth about this film is that the hype is real. It's a great film. I completely agree. If you haven't seen Prey on Hulu, you need to. If you're a sci-fi fan, if you're a horror fan, if you're a fan of the Predator franchise, if you just want something new and different that you haven't seen before, give it a go. If you've been like, oh, the other Predator films sucked, though, like, they've really kind of killed my vibe, this film is not those films.
Or if you're into, like, just Native American movies, like the
old westerns, Dances with Wolves kind of thing.
And like basically pretty much, even if you're not pretty much you can watch this just as a movie goer type of thing. Like, if you're just curious about what it is about, and if it looks interesting, I think general moviegoers who don't know the lore about the Predator franchise at all, I think they'll love this movie too.
Absolutely. So, before we jump into the spoiler review trade, Trevor H brought up something that's interesting. He said, honestly, I would buy it. So, for the people who haven't seen it yet, is this a movie worth being bought?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would buy it. I would buy it the moment if it came on Vudu and said pre-order now, like Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah, I pre-ordered those. Yeah, I was like, yep, done. It's happening. I loved it. I would definitely, it'd be a film that I would continuously watch over and over again. I think because it did really only have a streaming release, Hulu would probably keep it for themselves for a while. Before they do a physical copy release or a digital copy release. I think they're going to want people to return back to Hulu. Thank you so much, Butler. I appreciate that, brother. But yeah, it was good. So guys, are you ready to kind of take off the handcuffs a bit and be able to kind of speak freely about this film and not have to worry about getting some spoilers away? Okay, so guys, first off, Lord Koj, my man, it is so good to see you in the chat. I hope you are well, brother. It was so awesome having you for our Predator 2 watch party. A real surprise and blessing to have you there, man. And he says, seeing Prey today, everyone is happy with it, so I'm stoked. It's good, buddy. You'll enjoy it. Definitely, like Jeffrey has said multiple times.
Watch the Comanche version, bro.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Lord Koji, if you want to, actually, we'll do the watch party. Corey, what do you think? Monday or Tuesday?
When does the chat want to see it? Monday or Tuesday? Do you guys want to see it tomorrow? Or do you want to see it on Tuesday? I'm down for either one.
Yeah.
Will that be a vote to the chat? When works for you, Jeffrey? You have any days that doesn't work?
Really, any day for me is a good day, really.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And Lord Corjay, if you want to hop on when we watch the Comanche version tomorrow as well, that works as well.
Let us know, Lord KJ, if you're able to join us either. It'd probably be like 8:30 p.m. Eastern that we would be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I thought it was just, it's a good
Yeah,
film.
because
Tomorrow, Monday.
Monday.
Okay, well, we'll do it Monday then. Fine. It's bam. Monday it is. We'll make it happen.
They did do it. They released it right away, Koj. It's beautiful. I watched a piece of it just to see, and I was like, I'm going to turn this off because we need to watch this all together.
Right? Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting I did that, Corey, because I told Wonder Wife about it, and she was like, "Really? Like that's kind of interesting." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it
you
could be
get home
dope."
around 5:30, 5:45 Pacific. So
that's actually, so maybe if we did
like
6, maybe 7. Well, that'd be our time, so that would be 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern work for people?
Yeah. Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll set the show tonight, so that way you guys can start setting your reminders. Just gonna be Predator Prey
Everybody's saying Monday though.
weekend. So yeah, we'll definitely make that happen, guys. I think that'd be extremely fun to do. Okay, so guys, I think it's time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your final warning. We are about to enter the spoilers arena. Here we go.
It's not just a signal. It's a warning.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Here we go. So let's kind of dive in a little bit here with the story. First off, I feel like when it comes to the story, you kind of have to dig in really deep with the characters. What did you guys think of the main character Naru? Let's start with Jeffrey.
Really, I think the character was great with how they really kind of portrayed her from the beginning to with how they established that she's good with medicines. She's really more of a strategist than a straight up warrior type than the rest of her tribe. And that gave her kind of like an edge already to the way the Predator thinks as well. So I think they really established early on pretty well about how it is possible that she can survive throughout the movie.
Yeah, I agree. And it was very, I think you kind of said it too, like where she had moments where, her character development, obviously, I think was really shown through her relationship and reactions with her, I believe it was her brother, Tayebe, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And clearly he was like the honorable, respected leader of the Comanche tribe. And eventually he becomes, the great war chief with them. And he's considered a great warrior, great hunter. And just everyone really, when he says something, even if they disagree with it, they go with it. And I think one thing that he had that was very different from hers was he was patient. He was collected. And I feel like that was, as a setting to see her development, because obviously she's, kind of in her late teens, probably maybe early 20s. And she's ready to be something that her society, her tribe doesn't quite expect her role to be. They kind of want her to stay in this lane, and she has aspirations that are greater than that. And while some people are trying to keep her in that realm, she's very much a go-getter. She's doing it on her own. Everything is kind of like self-taught in a way when it came to hunting, but she's multiple layers of, she's a great health, a medicine doctor, health person, all that cool stuff. And then she has that hunting side. But I feel like because she was held back from becoming something she wanted to be, she was kind of impatient, right? She was kind of very rushed. She was kind of quick to go, and not to really look out and pay attention to certain things. While she was a great tracker and stuff like that, there was other things that she could have prepared for if she just would have taken the time to calm down and look at 360-degree awareness. And you kind of see that growth throughout her story to a point where, I mean, every Predator film, right, is about the hunted being hunted, you know, the hunter is the hunted, you know, stuff like that. And you actually see a scene where she mirrors the Predator from the previous scene. You know, the Predator does this crazy, amazing action sequence with the French fur hunters. And he's just a complete badass. And then she goes off and does the same thing, same savagery, same hunter-like mentality. It's just really cool to see. It was really, they were setting these people up. So they had to, you know, basically it was equal Predator versus Predator in a sense, right? With her as a character. It was just very, very cool. Corey, what did you think? Was there any other characters that like really stood out to you?
Man, I would have to say right away, Amber Midthunder did a fantastic job as
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, just about everybody they casted was really, really well done and well placed. I haven't seen too much of Amber Midthunder, but how she played Naru, I'm definitely going to check her out more in the future for sure. Dakota Beavers as Taabe, that was absolutely wonderful as well. So I love their relationship back and forth with each other. And like you mentioned, Trey, I actually truly, truly enjoyed the sequences where, you know, maybe she did something and then the Predator would do something, or the Predator does something and she does it. So there's a lot of mirroring there. So you really weren't sure who was the prey, who was the hunter, who was the Predator, who was the prey.
Exactly.
It was beautiful.
It was very beautiful. And one of the things that I truly loved throughout it all was they kept doing this tagline when they were showing the trailers to these films, to the Prey film, that like, you know, it's the first hunt of the Predator. And you really got that sense because when the Predator arrives, and they did this in such a brilliant way of how the Predator is like figuring out our planet, you know, figuring out his environment. And they did the simple thing of just like basically showing you the circle of life, the food chain, right? And who is on top of that food chain, and how the Predator's just observing like he normally does, right? Studying his prey and figuring out who's the big bad, who's the alpha, and who's the one that is worthy for him to take on. And they did in this tier where you see this ant crawling up the Predator's invisible leg, and a mouse gets it. And then all of a sudden the mouse chewing on, you know, the ant, there's a rattlesnake seeing the mouse, and then the rattlesnake attacks the mouse, and then the rattlesnake senses the Predator and tries to get the Predator. And obviously the Predator is the big bad of that, you know, whole thing. But the Predator's he's just not doing anything when he's seeing all these creatures kind of eat each other. He's just kind of observing to see, okay, who's going to declare themselves the alpha, and I will take you on. You know, he just like what he does when he sees the Predator, the wolf Predator, you know, hunting this rabbit, catches the rabbit, and well, there you go. The Predator's like, okay, this is the new big bad. I'm going to take this down and show. And I love that how they handled the Predator, like just kind of crouching down to get on the level of the wolf. It was almost like a sign of respect to kind of meet it at eye's length. And I just thought that was so cool. And they did the same thing. Okay, the Predator now takes down the wolf. The Predator now goes after the grizzly bear. And now the Predator was kind of after the Native Americans for a little bit. But when Naru gets captured, she got trapped in a bear trap. And of course, we know Predators don't like to attack or kill people that are injured, or, you know, something that was not by their doing, and they're no longer a threat. They have to be a worthy opponent for the Predator even considering to take them down. And I love that the Predator basically walks up to her after he was going to kill her, but now she's caught in a bear trap, she's injured, she's weak, and he's like, no longer are you a threat, but like, whatever did this to you, it kind of observes the trap that she's caught in. And he's like, that's my new prey. That's the new tier right there. Who hunted you? Who caught you? You know? And it's just really cool to see how the predator, without having to say a single word, you could figure out what was going through its mind and how it was progressing to be the ultimate hunter. And I just loved that so much. Corey, what did you think? I feel like when it comes to any predator, you know, film, you have to look at the person who's playing the predator, which is Dane DeLegro. How did you feel about the predator in this film?
He did a fantastic job. I love the way the Predator looked. I know they kind of got away from certain things. I thought he looked super cool. You know, just like looking at that skull back there. You know, a helmet. I love the primitive design. I love the just the ferociousness of him and the kind of the respect of how he was trying to take on his opponents and everything like that. I also think they did a really good job with the fight scenes with the Predator. This may be the best Predator kill fight scene montage that we've ever seen in a Predator movie as well. So there was some beautiful things there as well.
Yeah, dude, totally 100% agreed. Like this was like, this Predator was super violent, but he was fast too. And what I partly loved about how they handled this Predator, not only was he just so aggressive and he's moving around faster than any Predator you've seen before. And part of that is technology and how they're able to create costumes now to really allow the actors to move to where they're a little more comfortable. But obviously CGI has improved a ton.
What did you like? I watched an interview with him as spacing his
Dane.
Name, Dane DeLegro. I was watching an interview with him where he said when he had that helmet on, he had trouble seeing as well as hearing. Because the animatronics of it moving around, he was constantly hearing just like things humming and going at a time where when he was supposed to walk, there was supposedly sometimes like wood stick trails for him, so he could kind of just watch that, and so he didn't like bump into trees and stuff like that as well. So
that's crazy. I didn't know that. That makes sense to me, because I think there's like really two types of suits that he was wearing, where, you know, the one with the helmet, which I imagine was probably the easiest to work with because there wasn't much like facial animatronics needed, but he probably couldn't really see through it. But then when, you know, the helmet's off and, you know, they're doing all the emotions and the expressions from the Predator, because this Predator especially had a very expressive face. And Corey is right. The design was slightly tweaked and different from other Predators we've seen before. And it makes me really curious because personally, the design of the Prey's Predator, while I loved everything about the, you know, the armor, the kind of the tribalness of it, the warrior, not too technologically advanced, at least compared to, you know, Predators that we see in the future of this franchise. But the face, when it finally sees the helmet off, I was kind of like taken back, like, oh my God, this is a very different looking Predator. And I'm kind of curious of why they made that decision. Not that I'm against it. It was just kind of like, oh, like, how come you wouldn't just do the classic look? You know, what was there something wrong with that? Or are you trying to say that the Predator film that came out recently, a couple of years ago, are you trying to say that was canon in the sense that the Predators are evolutionizing themselves in a very fast, quick pace? You know, they're able to change themselves more frequently, so they're going to look different 200 years later when they get to 1987. But yeah, man, it was cool. Baby Girl says he was inexperienced though in some ways. The Predator,
I wonder if it was one of his first hunts, you know, because the ship didn't land at the beginning as well. It dropped him off and took off. So I thought that was interesting as well.
And in a way, and you're right, Baby Girl, because in a way he was also arrogant, you know, like we don't really see, like, to hurt a predator, that's a big deal. As we kind of saw in 1987, I mean, he was wiping out special forces left and right. Hey, Wonder Wife, how's it going, honey? It's good to see.
Today.
I totally dug the violence. They did a great job of the evolution of him figuring out the food chain. Yeah. It was really cool to watch it with her again, because she was digging it. And, you know, just to kind of see someone react to it while I was reacting to it the other day. But yeah, man, it was just cool to see, as I was saying, like with the predator, like when they get hurt, it's very rare. Like, you're going to have to do some like, you're going to have to, like, really, like, you almost get lucky in making them bleed. And with this predator, because he was kind of arrogant, he was kind of like, which kind of shows a bit of, like, immaturity and youngness to him in his age. Like, you can tell that he was almost like, I'm the big bad here. Like, I'm the badass. And he was getting shot left and right, stabbed, and he would, but in a way, it's part of why I kind of really liked this predator, because he was very, like, he didn't care almost. Like, he was just like, okay, like, you shot me, whatever, you stabbed me, cool. Like, he was bears biting him, you know, a wolf bit him and stuff like that. You know, he was kind of bleeding all over the place, but he was just it was like, he loved the scars. Like, it was a badge of honor to say, like, I have fought, I have hunted the creatures, the deadliest creatures on this planet, and I've won every single time. And here's my proof. And I loved that. I loved that mentality. Like, I keep saying it, probably one of the coolest action sequences in this entire film was the French Canadian hunters with the predator when they try to set up a trap for him, and in a way he kind of allowed the trap to happen, but at the same time it was like, when he did get caught, it was like, who's hunting who here? He's like, he gets you all where he wants you, and he's just allowing them to, like, go after him. They're all trying to take him down at once, and he's, like, loving it. You can tell he's getting joy out of it. He's playing with them, you know. And it was just, like, really cool to see, like, truly an expression and, you know, a personality with this predator, and I thought that was brilliant.
No, absolutely correct, man. Like, they just all around, they did a really good job with the story, and like I said, the story stands on its own. It's obviously, they had great Easter eggs from Predator 2, and even, you know, some Predator 1 Easter eggs as well too. So it was fun seeing some things go back and forth. But man, I think the biggest thing that made me love this movie, and I think the reason why, after watching just a small little bit of the Comanche version, this movie had such amazing cinematography, music, and sounds that they didn't require very much dialogue in this movie. So the Comanche version, it's literally just Comanche. They don't even pull up the subtitles in there. It's literally, if you want subtitles, you have to go and click it on with Hulu. So I left it off, and it's beautiful just watching and feeling the emotions of it that way. Now, if I was to get a little critical, I would say I thought it was interesting that they used the Comanche tribe up in the northern Great Plains area, because they were, I think, as high as they went was like the eastern Wyoming area.
Okay.
So I was kind of surprised, maybe, you know, thinking back about it now, that they didn't use, like, maybe the Sioux or the Crow or the Blackfoot or Blackfoot. Yeah, up there tribes, because they were in that northern Great Plains area, and they would have been great warriors as well. But man, I tell you what, they did a great job paying homage to the Native American side of things. I know one of the producers was she's Native American. I think she's both Comanche and Blackfoot from those tribes, as well as Amber Midthunder. She is Sioux. I know our boy Dakota Beavers. He's Native American as well. So they did a really good job paying homage there.
And I can only imagine the Comanche dub probably like paid even more respect. That fact that, I mean, you talk about diversity.
I saw.
Right, yeah. As Baby Girl says, yeah, he was vastly different from Jungle and City Hunter. Exactly, yeah. He was. That's why I say I really loved it, because he was very much clearly like, yeah, he's keeping to the Predator code, as I like to say, like where if someone's not a threat, he's not going to go after them. But he was also in for the thrill of the hunt, you know, finding the alpha of this world. And as you know, Corey said, with the whole Native American element to this entire film, I feel like they did a good job. While I'm sure there's some people who are very experienced and knowledgeable of the whole Comanche tribe and Native American lore and different details in that, and they could probably be like, yeah, that's not accurate. I just loved that you just got the feel that this was in a way very much a Western kind of Predator film, and it just felt natural, it felt authentic. And I think part of what did that was Nicotina. Bro, it's good to see you, man. Hey, Nicotina. Guys, if you have not checked out Nicotina's YouTube channel, Project Justice League 2 is underway. I saw the trailer the other day. Phenomenal. So freaking cool. Go check out his channel. You will not be disappointed with the work he is doing on that motion comic and the amount of money he's raising for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Like, I heard it passed 1,800, I think, now total. So, bro, wow. Hell yeah, that's fantastic. Wonder Wife says she would definitely watch it again. Sweet. Well, I'm glad to hear that, honey, because I want to watch it again.
Maybe now we can get Wonder Wife tomorrow.
Maybe. But yeah, it was just really, really cool. And I think part of what made it feel authentic, Corey, was the music. Mm-hmm. Sarah Schachman just did a phenomenal job with the
You're jumping drums all over the place, aren't you?
I know, but I was just thinking about it, like,
you're talking about later.
Authenticity.
We still on the story, big fella.
I mean, I know we're still on the story, but like, hey man, it was just so cool. You know what was kind of cool about this, Corey? In a way, this, like, I know it wasn't like really said in the movie, but you could kind of see, like, if you were looking at it as like real life history, that this could be how the legend of the Sasquatch came about, with the predator hunting and, this big giant creature. It was kind of fun to see, like, even, the footprints and stuff like that. And there's just, I almost wonder, do you feel like, Corey, that they kept it to an hour and 39-minute runtime? Do you feel like there's some deleted scenes that were taken out? Like, do you feel like this could have easily been a 2-hour film and that there was any hard cuts that you were kind of like, oh, that transition felt a little weird? Was there any of that for you?
I don't know if anything felt like weird or awkward, but yeah. I would bet that there's there's always deleted scenes. So
true.
Yeah. I think there's some deleted scenes out there.
Okay.
I was actually looking at Hulu last night, seeing if there was any like behind the scenes or like additional commentary content that they had, and I didn't see anything actually on Hulu. But
okay.
Trevor H,
my man.
Pow.
Trevor H coming in with that $10 super chat. Thank you so much, brother.
Boom.
Always appreciate it, man. You're always coming in hot with the super chats, the evil super chats, as some people would call them. But Trevor H says, "Love these reviews. I can feel your enthusiasm." Thanks, man. Like, I mean, Corey knows this. I don't like reviewing things that I didn't care for. Because I don't really like to talk bad about content, because I know, like, people work their asses off. Directors work hard. I mean, when we did the Suicide Squad review, that was a very tough film for me to review because I did not enjoy it, but with these types of films that really get me excited, get me pumped, and just waiting for the next time I can hit play again, I really love doing these types of reviews with you guys, and hopefully you do too, which it sounds like you are. So thank you so much, Trevor, for that $10 super chat. And I'm glad that we can finally use one of our Predator super chat videos. So Corey, can you give my man Trevor H a little love, please?
Absolutely. This one's for you, Trevor.
You're gonna have me some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
I can feel his enthusiasm coming up that mountain. Saying, I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
Like, I still, that's like one of my favorite scenes ever in the Predator film, because like that dude, like you just literally go like, that dude's lost it. Like, you know, he's not there anymore. Like, if I was a Predator, I'd be like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like,
I figured that was perfect for feeling some enthusiasm. I'm gonna have me some fun. I do love that scene as well, man. Thank you so much, Trevor H. I was hoping we'd be able to use some of those today as well. So, good stuff.
Corey, let's talk about the tech of the Predator, because that's always a big thing with the Predator, right? What makes him so cool with all of his weaponry, his armor, and obviously with this being 250 some years before the first Predator film, they were able to kind of take him back a little bit and kind of bring him to a more rusticness, to a more tribal warrior element, rather than just a superior technology, driven creative killer. What did you think about all of the Sarah? See, this is why I love you. She's like 100% director's cut. Give it to me. I don't care if it's 3 hours long. Let's just go. Oh man.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
Corey, what would you say about the technology?
Man, amazing and primitive all at the same time. I think the biggest thing that I could say about the technology was, one, it's super badass. I love the old school helmet with the laser tracking system. But I think what was even cooler to me about the tracking system is that she figured it out, that she understood how that thing worked, how well she did a great job of just learning about the Predator. That she saw, the helmet's off, it's shooting the tree now because it's pointing at the tree. That's how that thing works. So somebody who's never messed with any technology in her life, really, was able to figure it out. So I loved the fact that it was super high-tech and advanced, but it was still primitive enough to have it be figured out, which I thought was really cool. What about you, Trey?
Man, there was so many elements that I loved of it. Like the shield, the shield was just a really cool design, and it did give him that tribal element. I love that he kind of just had a spear with him. But you still get the iconic, Predator lasers that you all hope, but they kind of did it in a different way. Corey, what did you think about that? Because obviously when you see the 3 dots, I think once again, natural instinct, you start to get a little alarmed a little bit. Anytime you see a 3 dots, like even, in weaponry nowadays, like if someone put that on a laser sight, I think I would get nervous, What did you think about the fact that they could kind of spread and shoot their own, like basically arrows, metal arrows or darts?
It was super cool. But you had humans that were more reliant on their human hunter skills rather than using machine guns and modern tech. It was beautiful there. I liked it, dude. Instead of that big, blast coming out, it was interesting. And obviously, I think it was Boy Wonder who mentioned it yesterday, that their ships can travel through time, right?
Like they can kind of like create wormholes in this, and like they kind of suggested that in the Predator film.
Now you know more about the lore than I do. I wonder if they have to use somewhat more of their primitive technology because they're in a more primitive time as well.
Oh, so you're thinking maybe he was even still more technology advanced, and because, hey, I got to kind of even the playing field a little bit?
Because how fair would it be if he's coming down using, a machine gun, just white auto tracker,
just going crazy,
the auto tracker going around just, launching everything, the entire time. It was cool to see that in some ways his what he came down there with. He didn't have maybe all the armor as well. He came down a little bit more primitive as well.
And in a way, I think they kind of explain that. Sarah's like, I want a 5-hour full story prayer film. Damn, that's a lot of killing, a lot of horror, a lot of jump scares. But hey, if Sarah wants it, she gets it. With what was I saying, Corey? With some of the Predator lore, we kind of get a hint of that, like where maybe this is just more proof that this Predator is very young in age, and kind of this is really one of his first hunts on a new world to kind of prove himself to be a man, amongst his species, because they kind of tease that in Alien versus Predator, where they have to go through the temple, and if they get through the maze, basically they can get the famous Predator laser gun, shoulder gun. So it could very much be that, like, if he was able to survive that world and bring back the biggest, baddest prey there, then he would get some new armor, something to advance him as a hunter, so he could take on more efficient prey. The new bomb theme was cool. Yeah, Corey, what did you think about that? Because we were all freaking out when he started putting in the code to get the bomb going, and then it wasn't.
Exactly. That's why I think that there was maybe a we didn't see that big, huge explosion that we're used to. So that's why I wonder if they kind of dumbed down that technology some. So, I loved it, man. There was some, but then again, maybe they just wanted to throw some stuff that we haven't seen in there before, because I thought that bomb was really cool. Obviously I was kind of surprised that they were just going to chill, and clearly he's trying to kill you. We're just going to watch this thing, watch this thing there. So it's like, huh.
And we did get some of the technology of what makes a predator, in our minds, with the heat vision, as I know someone said earlier. But we also got the awesome badass blades that come from his arm. You're kind of like the Assassin's Creed like thing going on. But you also got the net, the net that kind of contracts and like basically just slices people in half because of what the mesh material that it's made out of. That we've seen in previous Predator films with Predator 2 and AVP, and I think even in the Alien versus Predator Requiem film. So that was cool. That was cool to see. You very much get everything that you wanted with the Predator and his kill tactics. I loved how he was using their weapons against them too, when he throws up the axe and just slices the people, man. Like, so cool. Yeah, you definitely get the creative kills that you want to see in a Predator film, something you haven't seen before. And he's violent. He's just a violent Predator for sure. Corey, what did you think about the ending of how she gets him? Do you think it was like it made sense, or like did you feel like, oh, that's bullshit, the Predator would never fell for that?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it was done right. Personally, overall, I think it was done right. I do love the fact that she used his own equipment on him. So for me, it was really well done. I think we all have kind of agreed in this chat today that this may have been a younger Predator first hunt type thing. He got taken to him in some ways, so I'm super okay with how it went.
Okay. In a way, it was very kind of pulled from like Greek mythology, and this is how I kind of think of it. Like, how do you kill a minotaur? Which is you have to break its horn and stab it with its own horn, because its hide, its skin is too strong. And in a way, that's kind of like what she did, right? She like pulled his tooth off and stabbed it in him. She, used his own weaponry against him that was able to pierce through his head, and kill him finally. So it's always kind of cool when you kind of see that kind of continuation of Greek mythology lore and stuff like that. But it felt very natural. I will say, Corey, when he falls into the mud and he starts to raise out of it slowly, that scene just is unsettling to watch every single time. You know, like watching it this morning, I was just like, oh man, stop, don't stare at me like that.
Right.
You know, it's just so cool. And I know, Oracle, you were happy that the loyal dog was alive at the end. This is not an I Am Legend situation. Corey, obviously it's really this whole growth about Naru and kind of earning her place that she has worked towards. We see her brother Tayebe become the war chief, and we learned that he only became the war chief because the cougar that he brought back, the mountain lion, was injured from when she attacked it, you know, or defended herself against it.
Yep.
And then here she is. She comes back. She's the survivor, and she brings back the head of a predator, of an alien creature, and she becomes the war chief. There's a wonderful scene, and it's kind of like, I think, who said this, that she's very much like Wonder Woman in a sense of how they use this character. I think it was Oracle who actually said it, where she has a moment where she looks at a younger a younger girl in her tribe, and you can tell that the little girl feels inspiration, like, if she can be that, what can I become? And that was like very touching and stuff like that to see that, because I mean, yeah, if you're gonna bring back a creature like that, like, yep, you deserve it. Baby girl says, oh sorry, bring on the gore. I just think it's because he's from a more feral clan. Yeah, or is she talking about the look of the predator and stuff like that? Yeah, it was
technology too.
Okay. Nicotina says, I love how the Predator used some of the classic weapons like the net, but used some new stuff that was way cooler too. Yeah, I hope they bring back the shield. The shield was a very cool addition to the Predator for sure. Corey, is there anything else in the story that you would really like to point out before we get into the director, the music, and some Easter eggs and sequels and stuff like that?
I think overall we touched our overall feelings and thoughts of the story. I love that there wasn't much dialogue in this. Personally, I love the respect that they did to the Native American community and the indigenous people of America. I think that the Predator was fantastic as well. It was just overall so exciting, and I truly enjoyed this story the entire way. It had me like, oh my god, is it going to be the mountain lion, or is it going to be the Predator popping out? It's like it was kind of like,
I feel like that's where a deleted scene happened, because she sees a red light through the forest, and it's kind of hinted that that's the Predator for some reason. And it makes me wonder what was the Predator hunting at that moment? What was he after?
French people.
The French people?
Yeah, that's why I wonder.
I didn't, but
because the French people knew about him.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I could. You have a good point there. That's probably true, Corey. Which in that case, it probably was a deleted scene. That hey man, give us some more violent Predator. But Corey, with the director Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I've never seen that movie, but I feel like I'm going to have to see it now.
It's actually a very good film. It's a very weird film. I'll put it that way. Like, it's one of those scenes where it feels very Twilight Zone, if that makes sense. To where essentially it has horror element to it, like a girl who's kidnapped, but it has a science fiction element to it that comes out of nowhere. And it's part of that whole anthology series that J.J. Abrams did with the Cloverfield movie with a giant kaiju monster. Have you ever seen that one? The one that's done all through handheld camera that made people sick during the theaters?
Was it? Well, oh, no, I've not.
You have not? Yeah, it's kind of a hard film to watch, but it's really cool if you're a kaiju fan like I am. The Shield was very Mortal Kombat. Oh, totally. But Corey, I totally recommend if you just wanted to see kind of a crazy thriller film, like it's really good and it's done very well. It's a great film, and I think he was without question the right director for this film, because he was able to get the scope of it through, as we kind of talked about earlier, with the setting, making it feel like a much larger film. And I just have to give him credit for paying respect to what came before, or technically, I guess, what comes ahead, and setting that up very, very nicely. And I think the story he wrote with, I think it's like Patrick Asen. Patrick Asen. I had to look it up real quick. I knew there was an A in there somewhere. He just was like, great story, great character development. It wasn't so focused on just a badass predator killing people like they've done with previous Predator films. Like, I feel like sometimes with these B movies that people call them, I feel like sometimes they kind of just know, like, hey, no one's coming to see a good film. They just want to see creative ways of people being killed and violence and stuff like that. He took it through the approach of story first, character development, now badass predator. You know, and that was the right call. What did you think about it, Corey? In terms of all the films we reviewed and cinematography, you can tell when a film feels unnatural because something was shot weird or the transition was off. And we kind of already talked about, there was not really a transition that felt wrong, that it just was smooth storytelling. Overall, directorial wise, how did you feel about the film?
I can't say enough of how well he did with this this film. It was extremely beautiful in the sense, like, I guess for me, it's still just, I'm shocked because you're absolutely right, Trey, about me. I don't like to watch movies with subtitles. I don't like to watch a movie that doesn't maybe necessarily not have enough dialogue in it as well. This is like the first movie where I was like, holy cow, just watching it, listening, seeing the scenery, seeing the story be built up, and really not having much dialogue worked beautifully. He did a great job telling the story through the shots, which required so much planning and thought process that I thought he executed perfectly at every single level. Like, I understood where he was going, and yes, it was extremely well done. I think overall directing of the movie was done perfectly.
Yeah, I agree, and I always love when a director understands, like, hey, we don't need dialogue here. You know, like, let's just speak through emotions, through camera angles to tell a story here. And like I said, like, full 100% credit. It gives me chills to think about it every time when you see that scene of basically the food chain explained in one shot. You know, ant, mouse, rattlesnake, predator. You know, he's just showing this thing that we know this about the Predator, but like, for someone who would maybe watch this film for the first time, he explained it in 15 seconds, that this is what they are. This is what they do. And I loved that. I thought it was really, really great. And his choice to bring in this music composer, really, in a way, I don't want to say she was a no-name composer, but like, when you talk about what's her filmography, there's not much there. The composer, Sarah Schachman, phenomenal. Can you go to the next slide, Corey? Sorry, Sarah Schachman. I don't know why I said Schachman.
But before you go too much further into her, bro, we got to acknowledge our boy Bat Fanatic.
Oh man, sorry, I got so excited to talk about the music, Bat Fanatic. You know how I am. But thank you so much for that $5 super chat. You are saying, what did you think of the orange flowers? What did you?
I have a really.
I think in the sense of how they made people invisible because they cooled down their body temperatures. I think, Corey, can we save that super chat? That question? We'll save it. because I think that's a key to something. But yes, it's a wonderful idea. It's a cool idea.
So you have a theory about the orange flower for later on in the future. Okay, I'll say this right now about the orange flower. I loved how they brought the orange flower into this movie. One of my favorite things about like Native American movies and things like that is their use of the land and their use of all the resources that the land provides. And another one of my favorite movies that is really not too big out there, but would be curious if the chat has seen it. It's called The Patriot.
Oh my god, dude! I was literally thinking that freaking film with Steven Seagal.
With Steven Seagal.
Bro.
And if you haven't seen the movie, I truly suggest you watch it. And it's a little tough to find. I think I found that on free.
It's actually on
for
YouTube right now. Yeah,
free,
it's free on YouTube. We might have to do a watch party of that.
Tuesday night, The Patriot Watch Party.
That could be cool. It's been a while since Corey. That's so fun. It's been a years since I've seen that film. But to this day, it's one of my favorite films, and you can never find it.
It probably is my favorite Steven Seagal film.
Oh, 100%. Like, literally, I don't like. He's wonderful in Executive Decision for the few minutes that he's in it. But The Patriot, like,
Tuesday
and we're not talking Mel Gibson
chat?
Patriot. What's that?
Tuesday night Patriot chat. Monday night Predator Comanche. Tuesday night The Patriot.
Right, just going down the line. And you know what? It's kind of a fitting tale right now for the times where it deals with a diseased outbreak. So that's kind of scary. But it talks about how they're able to help people, heal people through, what I guess it would technically be called Eastern medicine, using the land, using natural things to get people better. And it's just very cool. And the soundtrack to that film is great. And plus, it gets Steven Seagal being a badass before he went crazy.
Well,
I guess,
since
apparently.
we might be doing a watch party with that, I will not talk about that movie anymore. But I love when they have those type of, this is the way, something as simple as a flower can save your life from a high technology species that's trying to kill you, known as the Predator.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's very great question, Bapanac, but we'll continue that.
So play the play the video a little bit later, or play it now.
Let's play it now for him so we don't forget. But great question, Bapanac, that we'll dive in deeper in a little bit.
I'm gonna let you pick this one.
You're gonna let me pick? Oh man, when Corey lets me pick, I have all the fun. Well, you know what, Bapanac? You're my boy, so I got to do this for you. This is for you, sir.
This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
Yeah.
One of the greatest lines in cinema history, right there by Jesse Ventura. This guy will make you a sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
Just like me.
Oh man, but Corey, the music.
The
music. You guys know this is one of my favorite parts to talk about with any review because I'm a music guy, right? Sarah Schachner was absolutely fire on this, regardless that she doesn't really have a ton of film on her resume. She does have a ton of video games, great video games too, with amazing soundtracks like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. She's done some Assassin's Creed. She also did the most recent Assassin's Creed, Corey, that our good friend Julian loved to play, which was Valhalla, right? Valhalla. And Dan Trachberg, I feel like it was a smart thing to put this tweet on because this is how she got the gig. She's only like 35, 36 years old. She's like, when we were preparing the movie in Calgary, I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and I was like, well, this music is insanely beautiful. Who did this? The answer is Sarah Schachner. You will be listening to her lots in the future, I promise. So he was already recognizing greatness and her talent and was like, you know what? She's kind of doing a score that I hear my film to. So she became the composer of this, and man, oh man, was she just not the perfect choice for it. Because I feel like with most Predator films, they don't really try to get away from it too much. It's this what you're hearing in the background right now. Ba-da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun, you know. Ba-ba-ba-da-da-dun, you know, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, all that stuff. And she was able to create something new, authentic, and yet tease the original so much. Corey, what did you think of the soundtrack?
Oh, dude, it was absolutely beautiful. It was a great soundtrack. I remember saying multiple times yesterday, like, oh man, the music here, you know, like everything was really well thought out and really well done. It was beautiful.
Right, yeah. And if you listen closely to it, I love her use of natural instruments, you know, strings, wooden instruments, you know, to really kind of give it that really woodsy sound that really you can hear the grain against the instruments.
There was a time where I was getting like some Mandalorian vibes as well. Like I thought it was one of those Mandalorian, like, was it nose flute or something like? Well, maybe nose flute.
You're talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show with Natalie Holt. Yeah, man.
Or that other crazy instrument in Mandalorian as well. There's like some instruments that I was like, oh wow, I wonder what that was, you know?
I'm sure she used some of the Native American flutes because, I mean, why not, right? It's very much a part of that heritage. But the fact that her use of cellos and concerto basses, like, to give it like this really, for these tense moments, to give it a bit of a growl with, you know, the vibration of the low strings to really kind of create this, like, you could almost feel the vibration, right? And, you know, the use of the violins to kind of create the sound of wind in a sense with the harmonies, and to create just a beautiful theme for Naru with, I think it sounded like a viola, and I just thought it was like just so brilliant. But the great part is, Corey, I don't know if you noticed this, anytime you saw the Native American tribe, right, or just kind of the overall scenery of the shots of the film, she used natural wood instruments, strings, flutes, the native drums and stuff like that when things picked up a bit, when the hunt was on. But anytime you saw the Predator, she would start to kick in a little bit of synthesizer sounds, you know, to show that the technological difference between the characters. So I thought, storytelling wise through music, that is brilliant. You know, I really just dug that overall. And I've been listening to the soundtrack lately, and it's even great without I always say, you know, a soundtrack is good when you can just sit and listen to the soundtrack and know exactly where you're at in the movie. You know, that you don't even need to see the movie. You can just visualize it in your brain and see the hits, see the, you know, the swings and the attacks, or just see the scenery of, you know, the elk in the mountains and stuff like that, like she does, you know. And it's just,
what a smart person to pick to do for music as well, especially if she has Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Anthem, Assassin's Creed Origin. This was like a live action video game almost in some ways, watching this all play out. So to pick somebody who has produced and composed music for video games, that was an incredibly smart choice on their part.
Oh, totally, yeah. And she was able to bring that element. Obviously, she would know how to do a really great action sequence, you know, based off the video game she's done. But I have heard some of those Assassin's Creed soundtracks, and obviously being an open world and very cinematic sounding, I totally agree with Dan Trenchberg. I think you will see much more of her in the future, and maybe with this franchise. You know, I think she has the right sound for it to continue on. And I loved the different teases and the arrangements that she used with the cellos, where it was like bum, 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 you know, bum, 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 and the use of tremolos to just create this like very. She knew when to create intense moments, and she knew how to make these like almost new age style music with the scenery. But if you listen closely, every now and then she would put like a certain chord or notes together that would create this dissonant sound. So it kind of sounds, it's basically, it makes a noise that kind of makes you feel unsettled because of where the tone plays. And it makes you think you're being watched, you know, off in the distance, because it kind of creates that like something's off here. Like, even though you can't see it, there's something there. And that's like, when you do that with music and chords and notes like that, I get very excited as a music lover myself. So Sarah Schachner, well done to you. Hope you do more with this franchise and just with films in general, because clearly you're going to be like a big name in the future of music composition in Hollywood, probably. Yeah. So that's what I think about the music right there. Corey, so I know we've been wanting to get to this portion a little bit. Now that we kind of wrapped up our film review, before we get into the Easter eggs and theories and sequels and stuff like that, let's talk about the rating. After everything, looking at the film, what would you rate it?
Oh man. Oof. What would I rate it? I'm gonna let you go first.
So I told you guys this was gonna be interesting. That this was gonna be maybe some people would consider it controversial. So I think I gave the first Predator film I gave like a 9.1, and I gave Predator 2 a slightly point up, where I said maybe it wasn't a better film, like they didn't execute it better, but maybe, just maybe, they, you know, for what it did for me, I really enjoyed it. I loved how they built upon the Predator lore and the galaxy, I guess you could say, of that universe. I would say, and I think I give it a 9.2. With the Prey film, I'm going to give it a 9.3.
Ooh, 9.3. So it did better than Predator 2 for you.
My favorite Predator film ever.
Boom! Well, guess what, buddy? I'm going to come in a little bit hotter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm giving this... Okay, so here's where I'm struggling right now.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you where I'm struggling. I saw a little bit of the Comanche version.
That's... Oh, okay. So you feel like your number is like skewed because you don't want to give it so high or so low because, you know, you're going to... You said it was a masterpiece for the few minutes that you watched.
There's really only two things that I would have fixed in this film.
Okay.
And one of it is the Comanche version should be the only version. And two, the Indian tribe should have been Sioux over Comanche. And I before I give my score, I'm going to bring this back up here. There's a theory that Billy from Predator is a distant relative of Naru.
Yes, I have heard that, and I love that idea.
Which would make even more sense if the tribe was Sioux, because Billy, according to the AVP fandom website, he was half Sioux Indian, half Italian descent. So it would have made more sense to be Sioux rather than Comanche there. So am I just basing it on? Are we going to do points for tomorrow's watch party, Trey?
I will allow you to adjust your score if you so wish, because we see a different version of it.
Okay.
My score may go up too if I see it and I go like, yeah,
Okay.
that's where it's at.
So then, if we're going to adjust scores, that now that I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a 9.5 for this version of it. 9.5.
A 9.5? You're saying it's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece, baby. The best Predator film ever. Ever. The best Predator film ever. It was beautiful. It was amazing. The directing was perfect. Dan got me to believe that you can watch a movie with very little dialogue and completely enjoy it every step of the way. 9.5 for Prey. And guess what, folks? It's going to get even better tomorrow. Just wait.
That's insane.
Just wait.
That's actually kind of crazy. Wow, I'm really shocked by that, guys. Like, I can't believe Corey said that. Like, I mean, you guys don't like understand when Corey says like he didn't need dialogue, he didn't need like that. The fact this dubbed version is better, like that's huge. Because I remember my Godzilla days with him.
like I'm telling you, just the Comanche version, baby. Don't even put the what they're saying on the screen. It's beautiful.
Okay, so Corey, I may let you go ahead and pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score of where it's currently sitting, but I want you to also tell me where everyone is at with a chat.
Before we get to that with the chat, I have to pull up real quick. Papal, Red Hooded Outlaw, Trey and his music reviews. I agree, they are always fire coming from you, Trey.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, man. You know me and my music stuff. Yeah, it's I get excited about it. And you know what's the best part? My wife is now. She probably was very much the person that like just went to a movie and got entertained and left the theater and didn't think anything more about it when she got home. She might be still watching this and she can confirm or not. But she's now gotten to the point where I was hanging out with my friends on Friday night. We went to dinner and then we went bowling. And then, so my wife and her mom were watching the new Netflix movie, The Gray Man. I think it was what it was, with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. And I got back and I was like, so how was it? Like, did I mess up by not watching it? And she was like, you probably would have liked it, but you would have had issues with it. I was like, oh, why? What was the problem with it? And she's like, the music was terrible. And I was like, what did you just say? She's like, yeah, the music was unsatisfying. I would have done something different with it. I was like, now I know you're my wife. It's official. That is my wife right there, because I, clearly I've influenced her to pay attention to how important music is for films. But Red Hooded Outlaw, thank you so much, brother, for that $5 super chat and enjoying our music reviews. Yeah, I think that will become a bigger portion of our show in the future, doing more soundtrack reactions, and I think that'd be fun for sure. But Corey,
right,
can you play my man a little something?
Pick it out, Trey.
Let me pick around. Well, guys, because we're kind of at the hour and a half mark, if you're kind of like wondering, okay, when is this show going to end? Arnold Schwarzenegger has a answer for you right there.
Stick around.
Stick around. Aye.
Around.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Red Hood Outlaw. All right, so now let's get into what people are saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious. What's
Baby Girl, 9.3.
9.3, okay.
9.2 from Trevor H.
9.2.
10.1 from the Boy Wonder.
He's just blowing off the scale. He's just like, no, we're not staying in this range. It's not a rookie score, but he's going up.
9.3 from Bat Fanatic.
Okay, you're with me on that, Bat. I appreciate that.
9.5 from L.
Necrons, it says it's a masterpiece. I love it.
We got a solid 9, great film from Gerald Harry.
Gerald Harry, I just gotta say that logo of yours, your profile icon, brilliant. It's awesome. I dig it.
We got a 9.5 from the hashtag Restore the Snotterbuss Guy. 9.2 from the Red Hooded Outlaw.
Nice.
9.4 from Beyond the Night. 9.2 from the Butler. I'm with Corey, 9.5 out of 10 from The Batman Who Laughs.
Okay.
Baby Girl, yeah, it's the best Predator film. Sandman is this, by the way. 2 incredible streamers this week. Oh, Sandman.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen Sandman yet, but I was very excited to see it.
A third watch party, maybe?
I'm not sure about that because I don't know enough about that Neil Gaiman that universe to like really speak intelligently on it. I would basically be a general audience viewer watching it with you guys reacting. But
second. All right. Yeah, that's a lot of great things here. Hey,
Okay.
Trey Corey, would you ever do a watch party for Mad Max Fury Road?
Wow, great question, baby girl. I actually do really love that music. The music, I do. Tom Holkenborg nailed that freaking Junkie XL. And that was just a cool film. I do like that movie. I don't know. I haven't seen really much of the other Mad Max films with Mel Gibson to really like. Once again, we'd be watching it together, and I'd be like
I'm
a general
having fun
audience
with
member.
these watch parties, man.
I do too. They're really fun with you guys. I mean, if you're okay with that,
yeah, people have been liking the live reactions from you as well, Trey. I don't know. Maybe Baby Girl would want to come on, putting her on the spot. Maybe see if she'd want to. If she knows a lot about it, want to watch it on live with us. But we'll have to talk about it offline. But yeah, I think that might be interesting. But yeah, without question, best Predator film, Trevor H.
Yeah, I agree. I think they nailed it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you guys would want us to do a Mad Max Fury Road watch party, I mean, let us know in the chat. I mean, like I said, it just be one of those things.
We have been talking about doing like some watch parties like this every now and then,
Yeah.
for a while, even before this, like shit ton, huge week full of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, usually with watch parties, it's always kind of weird because I feel like, I'll be honest with you guys, like watch parties are kind of like a new concept, kind of like getting comfortable with it, because like I like to be in the zone. I like to be in the focus on the movie and not worry about too much other things going on. But it's super fun, like hanging out with you guys and seeing your reactions to everything. But I also feel like it's weird to just like sit there and watch someone reacting while watching a movie. Me personally, so I like to have like a little bit of trivia for you guys of knowledge that I know about the films. But if you're like,
it's happening. I'm just saying right now, it's happening.
El Necron, okay, well, El Necron, he probably knows more about it than I do. So I mean, if you guys would want it, then yeah, we could look into it. I do like that movie. I just haven't seen the rest of the films.
And he says you don't have to watch the others to follow. So
okay,
let's do it, baby. It's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll figure that out sometime, El Necron. We'll figure out your schedule and see if we can get it together, bro. Butler says he would be down. Okay. Yeah, Necron is sort of Mad Max Fury Road is sort of a standalone film. It definitely felt that way from the one other Mad Max film I saw. It felt like it was very much its own thing. Even though I heard the actor who plays the main villain, I heard he's been in other films. Maybe not so much that character, but like the actor has been in other characters in that universe. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of dig that. Always down for a movie night. Hey man, you know that. I'm always good with some popcorn and some movies. It's one of my favorite things to do. Okay, so everyone's pretty much saying it's a 9 film, which is amazing because Wonder Wife said she liked it just as much as she liked the first one, which was a high 8 for her. She said 8.8.
I loved the first one, but I feel like it's just slightly better for me. Slightly. Yeah,
and I do like the first one too. It's just like one of those scenes where this one had like extreme character development that the first one was kind of like just badassery, just cool. And brotherhood and stuff like that, which I always love that concept in films. But let's talk about what Rotten Tomatoes is saying. Let's see if Rotten Tomatoes is still with us on this, or if Rotten Tomatoes is gearing away. I think when we first talked about it on our watch party with Predator 2, it was at 95%. Now, with over 170 critic reviews, it's at 93%. So they're still saying certified fresh, which you know how I feel. I don't really listen to the critics. When the Rotten Tomatoes, I think they're often full of trash. But basically, they are saying this is the best Predator film out of the franchise. But more importantly, I like to look at the audience score, because the audience tells me truly what people are thinking of this film. It has over 1,000+ ratings, and currently the audience score is at 82%. Now, personally, I feel like that's really, really low, and I don't know why some people.
There's haters, bro. I kind of took a peek. It looks like there's some people that are trying to crash it. That we've seen before. So I'm almost wondering if that Rotten Tomatoes is just completely unreliable now, in the sense that you either have shitty tomato meter, the actual reviewer scores, as well as people just trolling the hell out of a movie now. So
yeah. Out of curiosity, Corey, what have some of those haters said, if you can say anything without it being too graphic?
Let me pull it back up.
You're going to pull it back up? Okay. Yeah, like I said, 82% seems low. I mean, when all in all, when you see anything in the 80s, people are still saying they really enjoyed it, and that it's a solid film, which is great, because like you said, if you look at any of the other Predator franchise films, with the most recent, the Predator, 33% from the audience score, Predators was 52%, AVP Requiem was 30%, AVP was 39%, Predator 2 was 44%, and then you had Predator 87%. So most people are saying it's up there with the original, but the original is the original, and don't mess with the original. So
yeah, it says I clicked on it 1 hour ago. Somebody said this movie is a woken dream, summing it up in 2 words: Mary Sue. I have no clue what he means there. A very weak film with many script holes. It makes the viewer stupid with the inconsistency of its scenes for favor of protagonists. Let's see what else. Well, it's really amazing how they managed to screw up classic franchise in a desperate attempt to make them better. Not worth watching. Terrible movie. Terrible CGI. Interesting.
What?
Yeah,
I would so. I mean, for their budget, okay, is it like the greatest CGI since sliced bread? Like, no, I wouldn't put it up there with like Zack Snyder's Justice League, or, you know, like Peter Jackson's King Kong. You know, yeah, I wouldn't put it quite there, like, you know, but it's not bad either.
Least intelligent Predator is what one person said, but I would tell you, people are really just attacking the main character, is what it seems like. That's all it is. Interesting. They're just upset that
it was a female strong lead character who wanted to be a badass.
Yeah, that she's kid ass too, you know.
I mean, to me, like, no one had that issue when the first Resident Evil films came out. Like, Mila Jovovich was like, she became a huge action star because she was a badass. I mean, it's the same thing with Michelle Rodriguez in the Fast and the Furious films. People love her because she kicks ass, you know? Like, no one had an issue then. I feel like sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, yes, there's some things that are extremely woke and, like, people are clearly trying to push an agenda in a film or a certain political narrative, which I hate, because I'd rather you just tell a good story.
So, I will say this. The last one that I see here, Trey, I think is beautiful in a lot of ways. It says, this movie is a true love letter to the franchise, a lot of obscure fan service and really compelling action and mystery for a setup with a solid reveal. In my opinion, it's the best we have got since the original. And that's the last big number 5 one that I see here without refreshing.
I agree with whoever wrote that review. I might have to write my own review and be like, y'all hating.
Yeah, right.
You know, Corey, do you feel it was woke in any way? And you can be honest. I would prefer you to be honest than, you know, than to.
No, not one bit, dude.
Okay.
Like, it's interesting to me. Like, I don't want to get too much into this, because that's that's letting the negative people, the haters of this movie, get too much airtime. But I thought it was beautiful in the sense that, you know, it was truly a story about a person who was destined to do so much more in your life, that wanted to be greater than just a gatherer or a healer. And she utilized all of her skill sets of being that gatherer, about being that healer, and the warrior that she wanted to be.
Yeah.
And in such a beautiful way. And that it's just a people hating to hate, and that's all I'm going to give it.
To me, the whole story with Naru really reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from Man of Steel, which is when Jor-El says to Cal, when he first meets him, that he's just like, what if a kid, like in our society, like you're born, but you before you can even decide, your future is chosen for you. But what if a kid inspired to be something greater, to be something beyond what society has chosen them to be? And I love that quote because it just means you owning your own destiny, making your own path. And that wasn't a woke story. That's this girl who said, I see all these badasses, I want to be like them. And I can do it. I can put my work in it. But as you see in the movie, she fails at some points.
And she wants to be a contributor to her tribe, to her family, to her people. I don't have any
in more ways
than
one.
Whatsoever.
She doesn't want to be stuck in one thing. She's a great healer. She's a great tracker. She's a good hunter, and she becomes an even more badass fighter. Because that's through the story. Like. She loses the battle with the cougar, right? It gets her friends. She didn't quite prepare for it. She wasn't focused. She was impatient at some points. But through observing and putting the things that she can, her skills to effect, and her, ingenuity of creating weapons and stuff like that, she was able to go up against the Predator, right? Now, granted, the Predator was getting weaker and weaker as he was fighting him, especially Taabe, her brother, like really put in a good dent with him. But I did not, for someone who does care about if there's like extreme wokeism and like, not that I'm like looking for it, but it's like you when you feel like the story took a 180,
that's trying to push an agenda down your throat, it gets a little obnoxious.
It does, and it takes away from the story,
There was no obnoxiousness in this movie whatsoever. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
That's all we're saying about those people.
Anyone who's telling you it's woke, it's not. At least through my opinion. What's up, Kubi Max? Good to see you, brother. So that's my thoughts about it. Okay, so Corey, now I've been waiting to get to this portion with you because I'm excited. Some big Easter eggs. Huge.
Yes, sir. Can I bring up the next slide?
Not yet. I want to save that for the last Easter egg. But here's some quick scenes of Easter eggs I'd noticed, and see if Corey, if there's any others other than the one that we're thinking about, and I'm sure other people are talking about. Here we go. The mud scene with Predator 1987, where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out of the water and he's getting mud on himself, and he's by that tree and he's like hanging on to it for his last stand against the Predator. In a way, she kind of had that similar scene, where she gets out of the mud and she's like right up against the wood, just like he is. So it was a very similar shot, just kind of, like a little reference point, a little nod, which was cool. Obviously, you get the iconic Predator spine rip that you would expect to see. Did anyone catch the possums Easter egg of how that is an Easter egg?
Right.
Jesse Ventura, when he's killed, it's because a possum comes out of nowhere and then the Predator kills him. Then he dies. I thought that was funny that possum showed up again, and once again, people started dying. In other words, if you see a possum, run. Possums aren't dangerous.
Oh, hell yeah. Get
the
the hell out of there. If you see a possum, get the hell out.
They're like, oh, gee, it's a possum.
Yeah.
We just made possums the most dangerous creatures on the planet. You're welcome, possums.
Kill them all.
The Predator theme, that's obviously an Easter egg. This might be a bit of a stretch of an Easter egg, but I thought it was very interesting. Taabe, when he's captured by the French Canadian hunters, they cut him the same way Billy cuts himself as a hunter, when Billy goes up against the Predator in 1987. So I thought that was interesting. Same cut, same type of slash mark. I couldn't help but wonder if that was a bit of a nod as well to Billy as a Native American character in the first film. Obviously, we got the famous line, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." The net, some of the technology was a little Easter eggs, an early rendition of what the Predator's technology has been. But then, Corey, before we go on to the big one, was there any other huge Easter eggs that you noticed?
All right, so you got the mud. You got the possums.
I got the possum. I wasn't able to find out if it was KY jelly still with a glow stick liquid.
Let's see. You got if it bleeds.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if there was anything else that I could think of that we mentioned or caught. I think that's good.
Okay.
Minus to the big one that we wanted to talk about.
Okay, so it sounds like, and if anyone noticed anything else, go ahead and put it in the chat. But obviously, we're going to talk about the big one. Corey, go ahead and pull it up.
Woohoo!
Okay. The Raphael Andolini pistol. Holy hell.
Beautiful.
From Predator 2, we finally see the owner of that pistol. Which, Corey, what type of pistol is it? You probably know.
It's just a flintlock pistol.
Flintlock pistol. I love this guy. This is huge because one, not only does it connect the overall universe and franchise of Predator, and now we see the backstory of that. One, it just goes to show that the director Dan Trenchberg and Patrick Asen took the original story that Jim Thomas had with Predator 2. That's where Predator 2 was supposed to go next. When they handed that pistol to Danny Glover's character, that was the director and the writer saying, okay, the next film is going to be a prequel, but obviously Predator 2 didn't do so hot, so it kind of killed the franchise a little bit for a little bit. But they kind of, it's awesome to see that they kind of always held on to that story, added some of that beef that it would need to make it a full movie, and to see it finally come to life here, and a wonderful way to use it. But Corey, I don't know if you kind of noticed this. The reason why I really freaked out during our watch party was there's one other thing this means.
Oh yeah,
the pistol.
Yes.
Do you guys know what it is? Be curious to see it. What does this lead to? You know,
I want to say it. Can I say it?
Do it. Say it.
Why does Naru still have possession of the flintlock pistol? One, but all the additional possibilities that this can lead into.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, this confirms that aliens, xenomorphs, exist in this universe still. That there are somewhere out there xenomorphs in the galaxy because the Predators have killed them. Because if this pistol directly, we've seen this in Predator 2, there was a xenomorph skull in that film. So therefore, xenomorphs exist. They're canon still in this franchise.
I already got a perfect thought process for the for a film with xenomorphs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can I say that real quick?
Sure. Let's hear it.
I would like to see the Aztecs go up against some xenomorphs, some aliens.
Oh, kind of like what they hinted at in the first Alien versus Predator film, how it's, the Predators were like gods and would teach them how to farm and crops.
Yes.
And use the aliens to make. Yeah, I mean they could make a prequel of. I think someone said it was a Trevor H said AVP prequel. That could be dope. But I just think I'm glad that they're not shying away from it. They're not saying oh no, these films aren't canon. They're just accepting whether you liked them or not. Alien versus Predator, it exists. At one point Predators messed up some xenomorphs. So that is some cool shit. So Greyback somehow gets the pistol. Okay, yes. So
That's what I want to know, dude.
That's what I was talking about in our watch party. I was like, oh shit, but that means
I thought she was going to die, dude. I was like, oh man, is she going to die? Like how is she? When she took possession of it, I was like, oh no. So yes, I think we have to see a Prey 2 where he acquires the pistol.
Oh, totally. And that's what I was kind of like, oh man, that's not exactly a good thing that she has that pistol. Like that clearly means, and they kind of teased it while there wasn't exactly a post credit, in a way there was, and it was done in a very brilliant way with doing like the Native American cave drawings and old storytelling that they used to do. Corey, can you go to our next slide, please? I completely agree, Gerald. Like, I really hope this reignites the franchise without question. We get this in the post credits with the ships, the Predator ships entering the atmosphere, and
they're coming back, baby.
They're coming back. They're not happy. My guess is that Predator was probably of some importance, maybe a prince or of some royal blood. And they're not happy. So clearly this is going to be somehow they get the gun back. And I think what this could lead to, guys, is I think this is the sequel. This is the sequel setup. You can make this a whole battle, a war, a trilogy of films where now here the Predators are, and they're pissed off that, their boy is dead. And like, here's this new planet that they're like, okay, clearly there's some alpha predators here who can kill us because they're intelligent. And I think you lead it up to a war between the Native Americans and, to the predators. And you could maybe make it combined like French Canadian warriors and new, the new Americans and English settlers coming in to all come together to fight against an army of predators. But here's the key, where I think we get with it. Hey, DC, dude, it's good to see you. Do y'all think Billy was their father?
I'm not sure what they
was. Do you mean like? Do we think Naru was like an ancestor? Because it'd be way too. There's no way he could be a father or grandfather, or he would be like the great grandson of some sort to Naru, if so, because this took place in 1719.
So Trey, yes, we're kind of getting into the next slide, don't you think?
Sure, yeah, we can go into it, but all in all, I guess what I'm saying to finish up the sequel idea, I think the best thing to do is stick with the Prey, this whole Native American story that they got going on with Naru. And as Bat Fanatic asked earlier, I think Bat Fanatic was the one that asked about orange flowers.
Yeah, let me bring it up real quick.
Okay. So Bat Fanatic, to kind of answer your question, my theory is that orange flower is going to be key to their survival and success in their war against the predators. I think that is kind of going to be their secret weapon, the thing they can use to camouflage themselves against predators and maybe in a way weaponize it. Who knows what that means through their herbal medicine and stuff like that. But I think it's a good place to start as how the Native Americans, because like when you think about it, there's no way, like one predator was tough enough, right? How are you going to go up against 3 ships worth of predators? I think you simply do it is that they have something that the predators aren't aware of, which is the orange flower. That is the key to the future of them sticking that fight out. So I think that could be cool. I like that idea. No matter what, I want to see a sequel.
I love that idea personally, and I think they do have to hit it with another Prey, especially since they gave us that teaser there right at the end of the Thunderbirds coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we have to go back there as well. That being said, can we move on to the next slide, Trey?
Let's move on to the next, because I know you've been really excited for that. So hopefully you liked that answer, Bat Fanatic. Hopefully that was worth the $5 super chat. But thank you, sir.
So that being said, one of the things that I saw an interview from San Diego Comic-Con that a panel, the Prey panel, was asked specifically the Dane who played Predator. He said they asked him who else would you like to see the Predator fight? And I thought his answer was really, really unique. And let me hit you with the next slide. Papow. So his answer
cool.
was, his answer was interesting to me. He said, biggest thing that he said was he's from like Massachusetts. So he thought it would be cool to see like a Predator whooping up on some redcoats. So the bottom left, I had to give us a good old Patriot Predator out there as well. But the next thing that he said was he would be super interested to see a samurai Predator fighting with Predators, which I absolutely love that idea as well.
Which I think that's what Baby Girl was asking about. She was like, Predators in Japan. I love that idea. I think that could be, that could be what Predator becomes, is different nations in different times fighting those creatures and how that's different. Now you have to keep it authentic. You have to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
But I think a samurai ninja fight, against a Predator could be really cool.
Which got me excited because I'm going to say I completely agree with El Necron here of Vikings versus Predator, embracing my Viking heritage some. A Viking Predator in the top left would be super awesome. And I believe the director, Dan, said it would be cool to see Vikings versus the Predator.
In a way, that kind of sets up like Norse mythology because, Predator 2, we see the lightning hitting the Predator, so maybe that is how they get their idea of the gods, and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm curious, in the chat, put who you would like to see also, maybe, that the Predator goes head to head on. And Trey, while I didn't show you this next slide, I do have another idea of a pretty cool one that I would be interested in seeing, but I don't see them actually making this film. I just think it would be a pretty cool one to see. But first, I'm curious, Trey. I'm gonna start that one, and we're gonna come back to that comment.
Hey, sorry. What? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep. So put in the chat who you'd like to see. But Trey, I'd like to hear who you would like to see potentially. Obviously we got the Predator versus Redcoats, which is not too far off from Prey. We got the Samurai or the Viking Predator. Tell me what you would like to see, Trey.
Spartans and no, I'm just kidding. Just do Zack Snyder with 300 and Predators.
Oh my God, Trey! This right here is why we're brothers.
Was that what you're thinking? I was joking about that, but like
why we're brothers.
Did you make it? I did not even know.
I did make this one. I did make this one. I think it would be fantastic. Fantastic,
man. That is hilarious. I was completely kidding, but like the fact that you found that is brilliant. Did you make that?
I made that. Yeah.
You made that?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, dude. It would be a cool battle. Especially you would have to like bring back down the technology of the Predator even further.
I think what you're trying to say, Trey, is
Spartans! What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
See, Predator, I brought more warriors than you did.
That could be the creatures that Xerxes brings over the immortals.
I want Gerard Butler there too, and let's have Zack
Gerard
Snyder.
Butler returning as he's like, I'm already dead.
Yeah, let's have Zack Snyder
direct. He'd probably kill a Predator film, right? Like he'd just nail it. In all fairness, though, I think some cool ideas of a Predator film would be I would love to see, and I think I said this before, Predator Hunting Ground hinted at a storyline that Arnold Schwarzenegger character's Dutch becomes like a gladiator on the Predator world. He's just kind of fighting the different predators wanting their own entertainment. They would be kind of like a Rome, a very military focused planet that I could see them doing kind of like a Colosseum thing and bringing creatures from all around the galaxy to fight to face the Predator, and to kind of determine that. So I would love to see like a gladiator, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of coming back. He's all cut up and old, looking
from years of Extended said.
Yeah, it would be cool. I would dig that. He's probably getting a little on the old side, but I bet he could do it still.
All right, sure.
But I would also love to see, I think someone said this earlier too, I think to bring back Alien versus Predator, which I would be down for if they did it right, I would like to see the engineers a part of that conversation. That could be cool.
Dude, get ready for this. The chat is going to blow your mind, all right?
Yeah.
Retro Nerd Girl hit it with the Predators in World War II against the Nazis. And I'm extremely intrigued by this idea because the Nazis, they were all about, trying to explore scientific things. So what happens if they found a way to maybe capture one and they were working on trying to control it?
Like a Predator against Predator? No, that's something we actually haven't seen.
Predator versus Predator, sure, but a Predator in the sense of the Nazis put a implant into it too, or did the similar to like a Bucky type thing where they got the Predator to kill or target the American soldiers.
And do you get a Predator to finally speak like German throughout the entire film? Or yeah, they could do that.
That's intriguing to me. Hold up, Shay. It's not there yet.
Oh, it's not done yet.
Fight with the engineers. I want to see Predator Blood Wars bring back the Berserker clan and the original Predator and have them duke it out. So the Predator v Predator. But this one, I am super.
I guess yeah, I kind of messed up saying that, right, when I said we haven't really seen a Predator v Predator film, but we kind of have. The Berserker clan, yeah. My brain was kind of just stuck on like regular Predator versus Predator, but yeah.
Or what about a Predator film on Yahuta Prime, which would be interesting, but this one's going to blow your mind, Trey, and it kind of blew my mind as well. Gerald Harry says prehistoric predators.
With like dinosaurs at Jurassic Park.
With dinosaurs?
With dinosaurs.
I love that idea. Maybe it's time to bring in one more universe.
If he
have a freaking Predator versus a Terminator.
Merging the universes. Unfortunately, they don't own the rights to Terminator, I believe, so therefore that can't be done.
Hey, Trey, DC Marvel.
Don't say that.
DC versus Marvel, big fella.
I don't even want to think about that. And if that ever happens, I'll just die. If that happens, Corey, that's the day I'm an astronaut. The day you become a shrimp boat captain. Some really cool ideas, guys. I would dig any one of those. I would also, I don't know. I still think the story that needs to be told at this point is getting to the Predator world at some point. We need to get to their planet and really start to learn their history, their origins. I mean, they've already done that with aliens, with Prometheus and Alien Covenant. We've really started to learn their origins, and I don't think we need to learn who created the Predators. It could just be a species that was out there, but like, give us their Civil War history. Why is there a war between the clans of who is the better Predator, and just create a story around them. And in a way, we could that's where I think the Gladiator story with Arnold Schwarzenegger being on the planet, we can get a human element to kind of drive the story a bit. But we can also have very heavy Predator influenced film. I think it could be cool. You're just having too much fun with that bottle, Corey. So Baby Girl says here, hey Theory, here could the Preds use the orange flower.
Hey Theory, here could the Preds use the orange flower for their tech? And I love this idea even more, Train. Building up on your idea
to make their camouflage even better in a way.
Yeah, or to use it even further, like they learned from the natives, like, oh yeah, this is something that we're going to utilize as well.
That's a cool concept. That's a really cool concept, Baby Girl. It would suck for the humans. I mean, clearly, if they do decide to continue down the prey route, and here's the wonderful thing of what Dan Trenchberg did with the Prey film. Obviously, with that post-credit tease of a sequel, it's also not a tease in a way. In a way, he kind of explains without having to, without having to do a whole nother movie. Like, let's say if this film bombed, which I don't think it will, but knock on wood. Let's say this film bombed and they decided not to continue the Predator franchise. You know what happens. The Predators come back, they're pissed off, and then kill off the Native Americans, at least that particular tribe, and they get the gun back. Like, we know that story now. We know at some point the Predators are going to get back that pistol, and how it could happen that moment, or if they decide to go in a little further about that pistol and how that Predator gets it back, Grayback gets it back, they could do a whole nother film about it. So they left a very good position of, do we need another film? No. Would I love another film? Hell yeah. So I mean, as Corey and I like to say, we just can't be like, I'm gonna have me some fun. 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 But I dig that. That's pretty cool, Baby Girl. I really do dig that. Well, Corey, as we come down to the end of our freaking awesome review, and obviously I'll be setting up our watch party tomorrow.
Watch party tomorrow, yay! Watch party! And then Tuesday night we're doing
Tuesday night, you're like Mad Max.
Patriot.
Oh, that's right. It's the Patriot. Yeah. Sorry, you got me excited because every time, guys, if you haven't seen the Patriot,
we're going to watch it Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it Tuesday. Like, seriously, like just a cool, like, if you want to continue to have this like Native American like cool style film and kind of actiony, and you just want something new, The Patriot is an underrated film. It's very underrated, very good, and it deserves more credit than it does. So we'll definitely have to do a watch party of that. Maybe we'll do a review of it. I'm not sure. We'll see. It kind of depends on how many people join us for that watch party. If there's a ton of people that join us for the watch party, we'll do a review maybe the next day of it. So I'd be curious. So make sure when I set the shows up tonight, set your reminders, tell your friends, hey, I'm going to watch this new film. Let's watch it together. Get your popcorn ready, your snacks, your drinks, and we'll continue it on. But guys, as we come down to the end here, it helps us out. So, Gerald says, you guys excited for the Rings of Power? Okay, I have to be honest. Gerald, I want to give you an honest answer. Corey, go ahead and put me full screen because I don't know if you have the same views as I do. But, okay. I was originally very, very excited for this show, for Amazon. When I heard Amazon bought Lord of the Rings rights to do their whole, series, I was like, yes, finally, more Lord of the Rings content, because there's the whole other book about the lore of, Lord of the Rings and, pre-Hobbit stuff that I really want to see. There's even some stuff about after Lord of the Rings Return of the King that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote that they could kind of build into. I was super excited for it, really was. And then I started hearing things that were alarming. Of course, there's the whole, like, people getting angry about the wokeism of it, which, once again, I'll make my own opinion once I see it. But here's the things that aren't setting it up for success for me. Is that, one, I've read a lot of stories and articles, and they may not be true. It may be skewed in terms of perspective. But I do find it alarming that J.R.R. Tolkien's son, who had the rights to protect Lord of the Rings, it sounded like he kept pushing Amazon back from doing it. Like no, my dad wouldn't want this. He kept making them tweak it. Said like, nope, this isn't it yet. Nope, this script isn't it yet. Like it sounded like they were having a lot of disagreements through the amount of research that I've done about the project. And then I heard after he died, all of a sudden Amazon like really started to kick things in gears, and it was like production's going, here we go, bam. And it was like, well, that was kind of interesting. How come we didn't do like, how come we weren't like really getting in production when he was around? And I've heard it's because he's no longer around to stop them from doing creative things, creative changes. So that's alarming to me. But what kind of confirmed it even more was I read an article that said Peter Jackson was supposed to be helping on this whole show as a consultant. And he just had an interview saying they said they were going to make me a consultant and they never sent me anything.
He's straight up said that they ghosted him.
Yeah,
so,
he said they ghosted him. And
that's very concerning now.
I want to make my own opinion about it because when the first teasers I saw, like the first teaser where it was just a logo and they were like building the fire into the wood of Lord of the Rings thing, Rings of Power, I thought that was really cool. The next one I was kind of like, whoa, what? Like, what is this? Like, huh? The most recent trailer, I was like, oh, there's some cool stuff going on here. There's some cool stuff. I want to form my own opinion about it and watch it before I make an assumption. But I'll tell you, so far the rumors around it are it's not a good start.
How many episodes is it, Trey?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked at it enough of the show.
I think, and when does it come out?
Soon. I think either September or November.
September 2nd.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, hear me out on this, Trey. I feel like we're going to have to review this show.
What if we don't like it, though?
That's fine. Because what we care about is the story, and we care about director and actor integrity, right?
Yes, but I also care about source material accuracy.
Exactly. So that's why I'm wondering, with how much we love the Lord of the Rings series, Trey, that we should have an honest review on each episode as well.
We could put together our
how
fellowship.
much we love the Lord of the Rings. A fellowship, Trey.
Fellowship podcast.
Who wants to be on the Fellowship podcast?
I'll have to see which of my friends are very diverse in their Lord of the Rings. Because while I've read the books, I haven't read all of the I guess you could say the lore book, but by J.R.R. Tolkien, but and Christopher Tolkien. But I'll have to. Smaug. But yeah,
Trey, it's happening. I'm just saying it right now. We're gonna find our fellowship.
Fair enough.
And you know what, Trey? I think we need to do some watch parties of the Lord of the Rings to kind of get excited for it, and then we'll see what happens.
Done. Yeah, done. We'll totally do that for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit because I love especially the first Hobbit film. I love Hobbit is like one of my favorite books of all time.
Trey,
so Gerald, hopefully that like didn't go like make you go like, oh, well, these guys like. What a shitty opinion, but like I have some concerns because I love the Lord of the Rings films, I love the Hobbit films, and I give Peter Jackson a lot of that credit for being true to the source material. I love the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films, and those are the only ones I watch. So it alarms me that they ghosted the man who made that possible, other than J.R.R. Tolkien, who obviously passed away. But the fact that clearly they were having issues with Christopher Tolkien, protecting his dad's IP. And it seems like Christopher Tolkien's kids don't really, to them, it's a free paycheck, which, hey, that's fine. But it alarms me that they kind of waited for him to not be around to stop them from doing any things that in their mind they know J.R.R. Tolkien wouldn't appreciate. I'm going to try to stay optimistic though, because maybe it is amazing. Maybe it's just because I heard they're spending a shit ton of money on it. It needs to be successful. So I'll give it a fair shake. But they're not starting in a good place so far. I have concerns.
Retro Nerd Girl says, I'm going to pass on it unless I hear it's amazing.
Yeah.
Baby Girl says, yeah, I'm not too excited about it. That's very concerning. Gerald says, my expectations are kind of low as well, but I'm really excited.
Yeah. I have a lot of the content.
Trey.
Okay.
Go for it, Trey. We appreciate your honesty, guys. A fellowship. A fellowship.
Yeah. Maybe we will, guys. Like I said, I like to stay positive on a lot of things. I like to talk about things that make me happy, because otherwise, why am I wasting an hour each week to watch an episode? So we'll see. I'd be curious. We'll look into it. We'll definitely look into it. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Rings of Power. But right now, Corey, here's the final thing I'll say. And I think someone asked you in the beginning. Prey, you gave it a 9.5?
Yes, I did.
Top Gun Maverick, you gave a score that's not even on the scale.
Yeah, it was like a 10, 3, 10.
So clearly you're saying Top Gun Maverick is still the best film of 2022.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, so what's the second best film? Is it Prey or Jurassic World Dominion?
Prey.
I would agree.
Yep.
I would agree. As a huge Jurassic World, Jurassic Park fan, and I did like Jurassic World Dominion, I think the director's cut, who knows? When the director's cut comes out of Jurassic World Dominion, we'll do a watch party, and I'll tell you if it would have made that film completely better, and if my score changes on it. But I think for right now, my top 3 films of 2022, Top Gun Maverick, Prey, Jurassic World Dominion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same here, buddy.
I think that's where I'm at. Koopy Malik says, if it ain't good, then I'll stick to the Hobbits and Lord of the Rings trilogy instead. I guess that's the good thing is, like, we'll always have those 6 films to satisfy that need. But it'll be sad if they ruin... I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien's stuff is some of the greatest work in all time, Boy Wonder says, I have to get going, guys. Love this channel. You guys kick ass. Keep up the good work. Boy Wonder, seriously, man, like you said, your comments mean the world to me, man. Seriously, thank you. It's always good to see you here, brother. Hope you have a great day. And then I think I saw Captain Rex here too, wasn't it?
Yeah, he said, just watch Prey. It was dope.
Just watch Prey. It was dope.
We're watching the Comanche version tomorrow.
Yeah, we're watching the Comanche version tomorrow, brother. Hope you can make it. Out of curiosity, Captain Rex, if you're still watching, give us a score 0 to 10. 10 being the best. What's your score for Prey? And that will end the show with that pretty much. So as you're writing that out, I'll just tell you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Please, as always, it helps us out so much when you smash that like, you share this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. I say it all the time, that notification bell is super, super important to know, so you guys can see that we have a show coming up. And if you want another great way to communicate with us, to hang out with us, and to kind of see what's going on in our lives, or just maybe some upcoming shows, you can follow us on our other social media pages like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at _Bat Channel, or if you're on Facebook at Holy Bat Channel. We'd love to see you guys there. I'm still working on our Discord page, which will release pretty soon. I'm just going to work with Mr. Orc and Beans working on that to see if everything's all set up. But you guys can follow us there. We're doing some fun things over on our other social media pages. All of our
YouTube videos onto that as well? Or
I have, yep. I have been adding all of our videos on Discord so people can see all of it. So, yeah. It's a work in progress, but Captain Rex said 10. He was like perfection. It was a great film. Okay.
Ow.
Well, there you go, guys. So far, everyone we've spoken to, it's 8 and up. So that's pretty phenomenal. Really, really great to hear that people are super enjoying this film. When the video ends, guys, another great way to help us out is to leave a comment. Just do #PreyMovie or tell us your favorite thing about the Prey movie. And if you're looking forward to a sequel, if you are looking forward to a sequel, definitely comment that, because what I'm hoping that does is hopefully if someone from Hulu or Disney Plus happens to see our review, they'll see from you guys that people want more Prey, because I want a sequel, and I hope you do too. And if you don't, we can't be friends. No, I'm just kidding.
I want a sequel.
We want a sequel. #Make Prey 2.
#Make Prey 2.
Definitely comment that, guys. And like I said, share the video and tell your friends to do the same. #Make Prey 2, or do hashtag pray movie, hashtag pray Hulu, all that fun stuff. Get it trending because this film needs to be talked about. It was really solid, a damn good start. We hope to see you tomorrow at, I think, what did we say, Corey? 9 p.m. Eastern is what we're going to try. So Koj can join us.
Koj said start without him, but we'll see.
Well, okay, so we'll make it 9 p.m. Eastern. That won't make it too terribly late because it's a quick film. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It really does mean the world to us. I am your host, Trey, with
Super Bro Corey.
And don't forget to tune in weekly.
Same bat time.
Same sexual Tyrannosaurus bat channel. See you later, guys. Have a great night.
See you guys.